Hello and welcome back to another episode of Darius College Steps to Success. And this is episode 2. We're going to be talking about the importance of back-to-backs, or actually, I'm going to rename that and call it the terror of back-to-backs, and why you should check your campus map before you schedule your classes in those back-to-backs. Or if you don't have back-to-backs, that could also be useful too. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. And so the terror of back-to-backs, that is when you have a 9 a.m. class and it ends at 10:15, and your next class is at 10:30, and then after that it goes until 11:45, and then after that your class is at noon, from noon to 1:15, and you may even have another class after that. But the terror of back-to-backs exists when your classes are so far from each other that you have to kind of speed walk or lightly jog to that next class. I made that mistake freshman year, sophomore year. I don't know if I made it junior year, but I made it 2 years in a row where I had a class on the opposite side of campus, and we're going to call that the IT building. And my next class was in Kavanaugh. And so some classes don't end right at 10:15. Some of them go over a couple minutes after, maybe 10:17, 10:18. And then sometimes I might even try to talk to my professor, which really left me little room because my next class was right away. And so I had that class all the way in the IT building. And soon as class ended, I have to pick up my stuff and lightly jog or literally just focus on speed walking to that next class. And so that can also be fun if you like cardio. I just getting into cardio myself, but that can be fun if you like cardio, and you like to have that adrenaline rush after that class. You like, ooh, I got my next one here, boom, and then you got the next class there, and you like, boom, and then boom, and you would like to get that out in one class here, 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 and then you're done. But that takes a toll on like yourself and on your mental and on your body because you're just kind of focused on I have to get to that next class. Some people may not care. Like right now, if I had a back-to-back class, I wouldn't be stressing over it because like I'm a senior, I've learned the ropes now. But as a freshman or a sophomore, I was more so I can't be late or I have to be on time. But not everybody necessarily feels that way. But to be on time is also to make a good impression that you care about the class that you're paying for. The terror of back-to-backs again is that 9 and to 10:15, and then you have a class right after 10:30 to 11:45, but they're not close. Like it's nice when they're close and you can chill in that same building or it's just right across the street. But when the classes are far apart and you don't realize till after you schedule, like I did my freshman year, and I was just scheduling and scheduling, and I'm like, whoa, these classes are far. Sometimes you don't even have a choice. Sometimes you have to make that journey over in that specific like schedule section that you and your advisor came up with. Sometimes you quite literally don't have a choice but to make that journey across campus. And if you do have to make that journey across campus with a scooter or a car, it's okay to ask your professor to leave a few minutes early because you have such a long journey to go to. But most professors, they don't really care like that. Or you just walk out and you be like, hey, I gotta go. You yapping too much, I gotta go. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, those back to backs. And also, like I said, you want to make sure you look at that schedule. You want to look at that campus map before you schedule your classes instead of on the day when you are a freshman or a sophomore. Not necessarily like junior or senior, because it's like you've been around so long and you know the ropes of the campus and you know where you should be. You could wake up that day, look at your schedule and be like, all right, don't seem too bad. But necessarily as a freshman and sophomore, you want to look at that map before the first day of class or the first week of class so you're not scrambling around looking for the class and you're not surprised on that day when you have to walk kind of far. I had a speech class, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I was that type of person to look at my schedule as the day went on. Didn't know what building was, didn't know what the abbreviations meant. Thank God for IU Mobile. That app helped me on that day and that week when I was first getting here onto campus. So know which building is which. Without that, I think most schools have that. They have an app and you can point you to the building or the class you're supposed to go, which is really helpful. So that's another tip. So ask around and see if your school has an app or something that you are able to use to get to class and not be kind of like, what building is this or what building is this? Because the first 2 years you won't get it down, but then the last 2 years you're like, all right, I got this. So that app helped me on every class on that first day. I wasn't late to any of my classes because it literally had directions, the power of technology. So yeah, when you look on that campus map, you want to see, oh, I'm over here, and then I'm over here, and then I'm here. So you want to make the best route to be able to get to class. Because some campuses, I don't know who's listening to this, but some campuses are really big and you cannot walk to the far side of campus just to go from a class you came from the opposite side. You might have to hop in your car. You might realize it's too late. You might realize, man, maybe I should invest in a scooter, or maybe I should take the scooters around this area to get to that class fast enough. I mean, obviously that's money, but hey, you got to do what you got to do to get that degree, right? So the power of looking on that campus map is just, it's just really nice because you become well prepared. And so yeah, this is really what I all have for today. It's pretty much a short episode. I just want to make sure that as the next school year comes around, you know the consequences as you schedule those back-to-backs, and you know the consequences as you schedule classes from that are far apart from each other. Again, you may not have the option, you may not have the choice, because like what I did, I had my classes all back to back and I like to be done by like 2. Like I said in my last episode, I like to be done early. So I didn't mind having back to back. I didn't mind having that adrenaline rush going, but you got to ask yourself as a person, am I the type to go in one class and then go right after that and go into another class and then go into another class? Like, do I have the mindset to go to 3 classes in a row without a break? So you kind of have to evaluate yourself and say, maybe I'll schedule 2 classes here that's a back-to-back and my other class will come a little later. Or if you're just feeling good on Wednesdays, I don't know what it is about Wednesdays, but maybe if you feeling good on Wednesdays, you like, every Wednesday is a good day for me, and I don't mind having 3 back-to-back classes being done by like 1 p.m. So it just depends, but there are people I've met that have scheduled back-to-back classes and they're burnt out after the first class or even halfway through the second class because there's so much knowledge that you have to write down and keep up with, like notes and all this other stuff and lectures. So some people get burnt out after a class and a half of another class, and then they have another class after that. So that happened to me a few times because I'm checked out. I'm like, bro, I can't keep up. And I have 3 different notebooks that I'm writing on, taking notes, and I'm taking out each notebook from a different subject. You kind of have to brace yourself if you plan on doing that for an entire semester or for an entire year like I did, or a couple years like I did. So you kind of have to really brace yourself and get that schedule just right. If you don't want the back-to-backs, if you want those breaks in between, if you want to go get lunch here and there. But yeah, this is pretty much the episode, and I'm glad I got to talk about this, about the terror of back-to-backs and the importance of looking on that campus map before you schedule those classes. Also, shouting out some mobile apps out there campuses might use for you to get to a building quicker or the fastest route just on your phone, and you just follow it as a first or second year because maybe you've never been to the building before. The only time you've been to the building was probably in a tour. And of course you don't remember. So I'm just here to give tips. I'm just here for y'all to learn, take my advice if you want to. You don't have to, but I'm just here to give some great advice. And that'll be the end of the episode. I want to thank everyone for listening on this. Well, it's night for me, but on whenever you're listening to this, morning, afternoon, evening, night, just want to thank you all for listening and taking the time out to either share or listen to this yourself. So that is all for me, and I hope y'all take care of yourselves. Peace.